You ever thought about trying to beat 3v3 by gaining its trust and then betraying it? Yeah, right. Me either. Totally not me. Right. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. We've got this awesome 3v3 season. I don't know if it's awesome, but I'm not even contractually obligated to say that, because I don't have a contract with anyone. But we've got this 3v3 season coming up, and whether we love it or not, we've got to figure out the right defensive comps for it, right? So we've got that. We've also have the offensive team comps in a different video released at the exact same time as this one. You guys can find the link to that one in the video description if you so desire. There's also an off-meta counters team to be able to use teams that don't have Galactic Legends to kill Galactic Legends, linked in the video description as well. Lots of stuff to be linked, guys. Lots of things to be said to my patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for all of your support, guys. Truly appreciate every single one of you. And guys, if you want to support this channel for free, please remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, comment. Let's mount the algorithm so hard we get to 20,000 by the end of the year, folks. That would be such an amazing present, such an amazing gift to me. I would really appreciate it, guys, and it benefits us all in some way, I'm sure. I'll get back to you on that one. In the meantime, whoa, we're in the game. Did it not have the thing pulled up? That's awkward. All right, so we're using my middle account here, guys. We have 5 Galactic Legends now, and almost 6. I'm farming Galactic Legend Leia right now. I don't think I'll have her for the first week, but I am working on her. And so, anyways, we're talking about defensive team comps, and traditionally I just keep Jabba in the back zone. Frankly, now that we have the Booshkron, first off, I can't roll the level 6. I've tried to re-roll it, like 8 or 9 or 10 times. It's obscene, guys. I've tried to re-roll it so many times. I can't get the right level 6, but the team, I mean, just the Boosh level 9 is going to be pretty good. I'll probably start with this on defense. A lot of Kenobi teams out there, remember, folks, with the cat, no revive, level 3 Datacron. And so she'll jump in and kill Chrysanthemum, and then probably Kenobi will just butcher the rest of this team. This squad is not going to be as good on offense because, well, in 5s it's going to be a powerhouse. You're going to destroy those Leia teams on auto if you want. Just target Leia and hit auto, and you get most of your banners. In 3s, it's going to be much more of a challenge. And so I won't blame people if they want to keep Jabba for offense just because Kenobi's going to be destroying it so much. And plus, you could try to kill Leia with it. I think probably I'll just keep Jabba in the back with the Booshkron and call it good. Similarly to Rey, and I'm trying my best not to talk about GLs too much, but I think it's just a tough thing to talk about your defensive strategy without saying, like, hey, look at all the GLs I'm going to be putting on defense. I only have 3 Zetas on Rey because I'm Zeta poor. I think I have about 4 of them available to place on Leia once she's out, so that'll be exciting. But Jedi Training Rey, Ben Solo, all of these guys on defense, probably with the damage compound or the defense compounding thing. It's just gonna annoy people, I hope. And then alright, so this is kind of a weird place to put them. My defensive strategy tends to be, folks, and this works until you get to like Kyber 1, where everyone's got big accounts and they've got all the stuff and you just can't quite manage against them. This squad here is what I would like to call fluff. It's not very good. It's not going to do much good for you. It's not going to quit itself well. But you need characters that are going to force your opponent to use good characters as well. And if they make a mistake, they can trip up and lose to you just because they placed it. You have to place 5 teams in each zone. And I just don't have 5 defensive teams that I want to place because I'm more interested in making sure I full clear and get good, solid banners on them. And then having my opponents, struggle against my Rey team, against this Jabba team, probably Leia in second season, etc. So This is just one of the many filler teams that I put down, but it's like a decent filler team, right? It's one of those teams. It's like, well, there's a lot of relics there. If someone tries to put a bunch of Gear 11s against it, I don't care how good those Gear 11s are, probably loses to the madness here. Now, I did in my offensive teams video put Seer and Malakos teams down for offense, and I think that's where I want to be placing them. Frankly, guys, I'm not sold that placing a Seer Malakos team on defense is actually good in threes, because you're missing out on one of the key components to keeping Talon Malakos alive, which is like Cal keeps him alive, but so does Crew by the taunt, and neither of them really do. Like you need a 4-man team for it to be really good. However, there is one team comp that I think is really strong, and I don't know if I can run it on this account because frankly I can't spare any relic materials. I am like bankrupt on Bronzium right now. But this if you get a title in Bronzium, is that what it's called? Like you're like a Kyber contender or an Erodium adversary. Are you like a Bronzium bankruptcy character if you win that title? Let me know in the comments. I actually know the truth, but it's fun to think of. But Visas, guys, on this team is very strong because if you put the Datacron with her, it forces people, if they want to kill Malakos first, Visas will immediately revive him unless they have some way to negate that auto kill. And if you kill Visas first, you'll actually Malakos will revive Visas one time with Savior, and so people have to have a plan in mind to be able to kill one of these guys twice as immediately as possible before Terran starts tearing a hole through your skin with all of those rocks, sticks, and stones. He only needs stones, guys. He's a force to be reckoned with. He uses the Force to become a force. It's great. Now, this is one of my favorite teams on defense, guys. I like to put it in the back zone because honestly, it doesn't look that strong, and Darth Vader is kind of awkward in threes anyways. He's like, hey guys, they designed Merciless Massacre around me fighting 5v5 teams. So what happens if I face a 3v3 team? People are like, we didn't think of that, so just go sit on in a corner. He's like, very well. He waits, guys. He's like Chuck Norris, but he doesn't really like this team though. Malak is really strong here. Darth Talon really takes good care of Vader, at least to some degree. Not like that, guys. And it's this team consistently. I checked my GAC history last month, and people didn't want to mess with it. Either they lost to it, they declined to attack it because they knew they couldn't clear because they had too many Galactic Legends on defense, or they used a Galactic Legend level team to wipe it out. They didn't. There wasn't like oh yeah, I just used this like pretty simple team to win. Like this team really punches up on defense, and it's one of my staples on defense. Now, as I talked about in the offensive teams video, guys, things are changing a little bit. We're gonna try this because this Darth Revan team with Basti and Savage has no clean counters. There's nothing that easily beats it. Gidme doesn't like it because Darth Revan disallows his turn meter to be reduced as long as he's in his lead. I think it's his leadership that does that. So Gidme doesn't work because Revan's typically going to be faster than like Padme or anyone else on that team. And then Basti and Darth Revan could combine to stop like bounty hunters from working. And this team, sure, there are holes in it. It's possible. And of course, if you don't have the Omicron on Savage, then don't bother. But this team is actually, it seems about as effective as like a Traya team with Savage on it. To be honest, maybe even a little bit more. And so we're giving this a run this season. I don't know if it's going to be better, frankly, but this is what I'm advising people to do and what I'm going to be doing myself on at least this account, maybe even my other one. Now, because I'm farming Leia, I do have a Relic 7 Captain Rex through the Omicron on. Remember, the Omicron only works with other clones. In the offensive teams video, we talked about how General Skywalker has to hang out with the lesser clones, and that's because Rex and 5s together. I call it the triple Rex team, because Rex and Rex will have wrecked you. That's not perfect. I would say I'm still working on it, but I'm not. That joke is complete failure, or no, it's not in progress anymore. Remember to put Rex on the end here. Maybe that's just with Phoenix, I forget, but typically you want him to be on the very end so that he can do more cool stuff. This team on defense, yes, it'll die to like Qui-Gon teams and stuff, but it forces people to use good teams, and if they don't have a good team for it, like put it in the back zone, guys, and make people counter you, and it's going to be a challenge for them, I guess. I hope. Now, Commander Luke on defense, put it in the front zone, guys, and put a damage reduction cron on this team, and people are going to try their old counters and just struggle really mightily. It's a wonderful thing. Mon Mothma, same thing. So I'll probably have Drogan because, like I say, I probably won't have Leia available. I'll probably have Drogan available for 1 week. I think on defense I'm going to end up with Mothra, Drogan, and Kyle Katarn. It does some really interesting stuff, actually, because I don't have a good Saw character, but these three are gonna do some good work. If you don't have Drogan available, which most of you, if you have Drogan at Relics, then probably you're really close to getting Leia, or you already have Leia, in which case Wedge Cron is not going to do all that much. But, in which case Drogan is not going to do that much for your team. But, then you want to bring Wedge with this Wedge Cron. And as you can see, I don't even have him Relic 5. I don't have Wedge Cron. But for those of you who do, he hits twice every time everyone else goes. In 3s, that's maybe not quite as crazy and pervasive, but you'll probably be able to clean up a lot of teams. I guess the other thing I want to point out is, on offense, this team does pretty well. On defense, this is probably going to be, people aren't going to like Drogan because they don't know what he does yet. And honestly, he just sets people on fire. And sometimes they die before they realize they're on fire. Really strong team here, guys. If you put Wedge on defense, honestly, I would say this. If you're going to put this team on defense, make sure you have Drogan on it. Well, I'm not saying, definitely put Drogan with Leia if you have Leia. But if you just happen to have Drogan but no Leia yet, put this team on defense. If not, if you're using a Wedge Cron or a different version of Mothra, keep it for offense and do stuff there, because otherwise, I don't know if Wedge really moves the needle that much on defense, frankly. Alright, so I guess I put this trench team on defense here as well. I don't love this trench team on defense, guys. You can. I think the only way, honestly, I would say typically you want either Newt here instead of Dooku, or you probably want Jango here. Either way, Watt does make the team better. I think Dooku is a little bit uninspired of a choice though, so I'm not gonna change it though, guys, because it's way past my bedtime right now. We have Iden here with on defense. Remember, so Scout Trooper is going to shut down a lot of Wampa attempts to kill your team right now, because if you can get the Scout Cron, especially, this team does really good work. Stormtrooper is a really good character to go here instead of Range Trooper, though Range Trooper is really nice as well. This team goes great on offense and on defense in 3s, and Scout Trooper is, I think, going to be front and center for a long time, because new Gideon is going to be out, and he's going to want her to hang out with, I'm guessing. Alright, guys, I spent a long time looking at sortie squads and what was best, and what I discovered was so the sortie squad with Grievous and Droideka works against a lot of teams if they don't use Bad Batch. Bad Batch have the worst win rate against them out of any sortie squad out there at like 90%. The only exception to that is they have a way worse win percentage against sortie squad with BT1 and 000. Go figure. So the thing is, most people who have BT1 and 000 in a usable state are capable of using Aphra with them, which I would say, yeah, definitely use Aphra with them instead. Aphra is way better with BT1 and 000. But if you don't have Aphra, then I'm going to be trying this squad out with Sortie. Only gear 12 on 000, that's fine. It looks like I can spare the gear, but I can't. It's all waiting for Leia once I unlock her. If not, the Sortie squad still wins at, It still blocks a few different teams. Is it the most inspired team ever? No. Is it going to get you a hold this season? Maybe not. Who knows? I don't know how good your opponents are. I will say the lower in the leagues you get, the stronger this team is. If people don't have Bad Batch, this team starts to become a big problem. Well, part of my issue was I was facing all people who had Bad Batch, and people were like, oh yeah, I'll just do that, and they win. I mean, and at the same time, if I could get a guaranteed hold on all of my like okay squads, if it's like, hey, not a guaranteed hold, like it's a 15% chance to get a hold, or 15 to 10%. Like if I could get that guaranteed on every single like okay team that I'm placing that isn't great, I think I'll take it, man. Like getting some holds, unexpected holds with bad teams is kind of part of what 3v3 is about, to be honest. Speaking of bad teams, I never rolled the Nisacron. I didn't think I'd need it. I didn't think I'd niece it. But apparently, if you have the Kron and you have the character's relic, then you can do it. Just keep in mind, if you want to optimize your Ewoks, guys, you probably want Peplu instead of Wicket. Peplu is way better. But Wicket is relic though. So if I can find a way to get the Kron, the Nisacron for this team, which I should probably try to do that. I still have a couple seasons left of it. It's probably what I'll end up doing. So yeah, Peplu is just better than Wicket though. Sorry Wicket. All right, so I was looking at these teams here, guys. So Finn and so yeah, if you can get Zori instead of Resistance Hero Poe, obviously better. I don't have a good Zori though, so in this case, Resistance Hero Poe, Finn Poe still gets some holds. If you can make your Finn kind of fast, it's going to mess with people. If you can make Zori go alongside Finn and make him even faster, it can be kind of a pita for people. Alright, here's a team that it's kind of an old standby. If you need something on defense that's going to mess with people, remember, Boba has a lot of synergy with a bunch of thermal detonators, right? So he does all this weird stuff. He doesn't do thermal detonators himself, but yeah, like when he's the lead, like all bounty hunter allies gain 15% turn meter whenever a thermal detonator explodes. And so in 5s it's an interesting thing, or 3s it's an interesting thing, because Dengar throws a bunch of thermals, actually. He always throws, what, 1 per each enemy plus 2, something like that? Yeah, so deal physical damage 2 times to random enemies, dealing 50% less damage. Then inflict negative status, all this stuff. Apply 1 thermal detonator to a random enemy target for each bounty hunter ally. I'm just making things up then, guys. He causes more instances of damage. That's what I was, yeah, so it does damage to all enemies, then deal physical damage to 2 times to random enemies. I mixed that up with how many thermals, guys. My bad. I apologize. He does still apply 3, potentially 4, depending on what squad you're facing. And remember, Boba's got the execute ability. I also have him in a couple other squads, guys. So watch yourself. Don't double book Boba. This team, I would say, maybe don't place it unless you have a Relic Zam, because she's gonna die so easy, but she's gonna make this team a lot faster. This team, it's not wonderful. It's another one of those teams. It's like, yeah, we call them not bad leftovers. You know, probably similar in principle to the Sorty squad with Grievous. Probably not going to get a hold, but sometimes maybe they will. On defense, okay, so we had Dash on offense last time, guys. Or in the last video. I also, a lot of people really like to put Dash on defense, and in that case I would put Hondo to hang out with Queel and IG instead. That gets a lot of holds from people. And then Dash with Vandor, and then either Enfys Nest or L3. Is it a wonderful paragon of a team on defense? Not necessarily. Hondo can mess with people though, and what you're doing is applying some pressure. People don't want to have to deal with both of these squads. Not really, not usually. So if you can put some good pressure on them, maybe they'll slip, let Dengar do a crazy amount of damage, and Vander will get a headshot on someone, and you'll get a win. That can happen, guys. I'm sure it will for someone. Now, if you don't have Rey, probably the Jedi Training Raid team with BB-8 and Ben would be the best. You could also throw in R2-D2 if you don't have Ben. Similarly, if you don't have Supreme Leader Kylo, you could just do this crew team. I don't like Huck's lead, frankly, guys. Crew is a lot more survivable, does a lot more damage, and then Red Trooper, of course, is there just to demand people die. It's wonderful. Finally, guys, if you want to run Tuskens, I would recommend putting relics on them first and putting an Omicron on Raider. Just a thing to keep in mind. We'll take a closer look at that team, I believe, when we go to my more advanced builds, which I think actually we're done with the builds here, folks. Let's go look at my more advanced builds on my main account, shall we? Whoa, we're here on my main account here, guys. Madness. So, all right, first, like I said before, talking about the Tuskens, I know that there is another Tusken Chieftain GAC Omicron. I would not advise that one. That lets you use Scion of Django as a Tusken, and it's an okay team. It kind of messes with people. The problem is there's no taunt, and you can use a really simple team like Gidme to be able to outspeed and destroy the team. Instead, if you use Tusken Raider, it just gives them a permanent taunt that you like. Unless you can permanently kill this character, then you just get stuck there. And then meanwhile, you don't want Tusken Raider to go with the old, like, kind of crappy bad Tuskens. You want them to go with the new hotness, which is Tusken Chieftain. And you haven't seen Tusken Warrior's face, but she is a beaut, is what I've heard. I haven't actually seen her either, so no one actually knows that. I think they're dead now anyways, right? In the movies, or whatever it's called in the show. Anyways, this team is great on defense. It messes with people. Like, people will use like Traya squad, and that usually works. If they have Savage, if they don't, then it becomes like a 50-50 chance. People will use like, a lot of times I'll use like some kind of weird bounty hunter team that'll just kill just the Tusken Raider, and then I have to clean it up, and it's just a mess, especially with their their Datacron coming out. This team is really gonna do some great things on offense, or even more awesome on defense. I'm very interested to see how this goes. You do want the Datacron if you can possibly get it, though, guys. It's going to be extremely impactful. Now, we talked about Drogan comps with Mon Mothma earlier, but if you have Saw available, and remember, these are all just on my main account where I just have, I've been playing for a long time, I've been spending money for a long time, so I have the Omicron on Saw, and what happens, I was looking at this, once you apply the Omicron on him, then all the counters go way down, like percentage-wise. It's a really strong team with Saw, Cara Dune, and Kyle Katarn. If you can spare Drogan, which if you do have Leia, you should absolutely have him go with Leia. I don't think that there's a good excuse otherwise, unless you keeping Leia for offense for some weird reason. But Drogan makes so you swap out Cara Dune, get rid of her, put Drogan in her place, and this team holds at a really, really nice rate against a ton of really strong teams. Like that, it'll still lose to some teams like Qui-Gon or the Wampa, but no, actually Wampa goes down to 0%. Wampa doesn't beat any teams with Drogan on them. And all the other teams go down by like 20% win rate. It's kind of insane. Drogan just makes Saw's team that much stronger. Otherwise, Saw with Cara and Kyle Katarn, not bad. One thing to keep in mind, if you're running this team on offense for some reason, Saw with Kyle Katarn and Drogan can call Kyle to assist and slowly build his training for Jedi Knights. Like, Drogan can even train Jedi, guys. You heard it here first. Now, this team is it just seems like it would die to Gidme, but it doesn't. If you put Jedi Luke down and Jedi Cal with Kenobi, this team is, I don't even know if I'll run it. I said I was going to try it this last 3v3, and Jedi Cal's just too strong on offense, man. I don't, but you can do it. You can, if you want to try this, you can, and it seems like every time I'm like, dude, that's just going to lose to so much stuff, and then you don't have Jedi Cal or Jedi Luke, but then someone's like, hey, look what they lost to me with, and it's always something impressive, and so someday, maybe I'll try this. It's a tough, but today is not that day. Okay, so Aphra, I didn't have this on my offense teams. Guys, remember, her Datacron makes her bonkers. She's going to be so good, and she's kind of the reason you probably want to put Jabba on offense. Keep it for offense, because she'll probably just destroy Jabba, frankly. If she has her Datacron. We have 4 months of a really fun squad ahead of us, folks. I just applied her 3rd Omicron because she is super fun, even though even though it's 3v3 and I can't actually use her 3rd now that I'm thinking about it, so I'm kind of dumb. But yeah, this team's the gift that keeps giving, folks. If you don't have it, I'm not saying you should rush it or something, but I will say getting that Datacron on a team that can really use it, it's fairly nasty. Now, I guess I talked about this previously. When Dark Trooper Moff Gideon comes out, probably throw Scout and Stormtrooper with him, is my guess. We talked about the Maul with ISC and Gar. If you can spare Maul, I just don't know if you can. That's something that a lot of people, at least at the top level, are looking at. Look at Gar Saxon's Zeta and tell me if it's the most worthless thing you've seen. Okay, one thing I wanted to point out, guys, with the Finn Zori team, so you want Finn and Zori, OG Finn and Zori, and then the question is, who do you put on the team versus Resistance Hero Finn and Rose Tico? So the obvious answer is, if you don't have the Omicron on Rose, then in every case almost you want Resistance Hero Finn. Some teams don't sometimes they'll delete Finn just a little bit easier than they delete Rose, but for the most part, Resistance Hero Finn goes better with this team. Even when you put the Omicron on, I think in 5s she really moves the needle for the team, and if she really wants to be there, I would still say, after looking at all the different team comps and everything, I would still rather have Resistance Hero Finn on the team in 3s. So that's my team. If you really want to use Resistance Hero Finn somewhere else, you can put Rose on the team, and she picks it up nicely in some cases. The teams that go faster than this squad, though, are the teams that that they just don't even care at all. They just delete you before this team can take a turn anyways. Okay, so I'm going to be trying on this account probably to try Radis, Jin, and Baze to kill Inquisition. I think we talked about that previously too, but that's something we're going to try. I do have my Jin modded decently well. She has all defense for some reason, so maybe it's not that well, but lots of speed for the set, considering it's mostly defense and crit chance. But probably try to do some make the needle move just a little bit with this team. And then finally, guys, if you can use Cyan of Django with Bosk, he can ignore taunt, he can do AoEs even if someone's in stealth. So this works against teams like a Malgus squad with Talon in there. If Talon is in there and Talon is in stealth, Cyan of Django still has 2 different kinds of attacks that will hit her even while she's in stealth, and so you'll slowly get your contract regardless of if she's in stealth or not. Is it the very best team comp ever against Malgus? Maybe not, but some Malgus teams can really be beaten by a good bounty hunter team if you know what you're doing. So, folks, that's it for me. Advanced comps aren't that too advanced this season, but I would love to hear what your thoughts are. What are some of the teams you're going to be using? Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zereth prevails.